Hey fellow Vault Dwellers, it's Angry Turtle and we just received official patch notes for Milepost 0 update that is currently ongoing. So let's dive in. That's a Caravan update with Caravan itself being delayed. Let's see if they highlight that. So update highlights: legendary crafting. Craft your ideal weapons and armor with this update. Take on crafting that gives you more control over the mods that are on your legendary items. Best builds. Submit, visit and raid camps from across the wasteland for all to see. Vendor history log. Returning customers are key, so find out who is buying from your vendors and make sure you give them a nice wave when you see them around Appalachia. Start your own caravan. Later this month, you will be able to protect your caravan from raiders and creatures alike as you make deliveries around Skyline Valley. So still no date. I was hoping in the patch notes maybe there would be official date. Not yet, but it's confirmed later this month. Patch, update and sizes, and they do list around 100 gigabytes for all platforms, but if you notice my post on X, on Steam it was like 19 gigabytes for me, and I do not really know why. On my Xbox app, on the same PC, it was over 90 gigabytes, but not on Steam. So I don't know why, but let's hope everything will work correctly. Legendary crafting. We are excited to introduce this new iteration of legendary crafting that gives you more direct control over the legendary mods that appear on your legendary items. Before you can start swapping legendary mods onto your gear, you will need to obtain the mod you want to craft in one of two ways: trading for the mod with another player, scrapping legendary items with your desired mod on it, and we'll be doing a huge scrapping session as soon as the game will go live after the maintenance. Do they list odds? I don't think so. Every time you scrap a legendary item, you will get legendary script and have a chance at receiving legendary mods in the form of a crafting item. There is also a chance that you will permanently learn how to craft one of the mods on the item you scrapped too. Those loose legendary mods can be traded with other players, but once you craft that mod onto an item, that item becomes character bound, meaning it cannot be traded, sold, nor dropped in the world. I do have already full legendary crafting guide on the channel if you are interested into details, how does it actually look like and work, the full guide on the channel. Once you obtain your desired mod, you can head over to your armor or weapons workbench to attach it to a legendary item in exchange for legendary script. Each time you replace a mod on an item, the cost to replace another will increase. If you are lucky enough to learn how to craft the mod, head over to your Tinker's workbench to craft it. The crafting cost will vary depending on the mod. Mods require legendary modules and various other items to craft that you can find around the wasteland. To aid in the exploration of new mod combinations, we have relaxed the legendary mod restrictions on weapons. We are excited to see what you craft. By relaxation, they mainly mean explosive effect is widely available on energy weapons again, not the same as old one, but widely available. Legendary cores discontinued. In August, we announced that legendary cores will be discontinued as we consolidate the currencies used in legendary crafting. This means legendary cores will no longer be usable across Appalachia. When you log in after downloading the patch, and the remaining legendary cores will be converted into legendary script at a 1-to-1 conversion ratio. Best builds. Best Builds is a new social system that allows you to submit, visit and raid camps. The camp with the most votes will be shared and populated throughout Wasteland for all players in Adventure Mode to see. You will be able to visit these amazing creations and enjoy the comforts, design and unique tastes the builder has in store for its visitors. While visiting, if you happen to appreciate the builder's camp, you can show your support by leaving a like. We hope this allows our dedicated player builders an opportunity to show off their creations as well as inspire other players to create and submit their own best builds. And there is explanation in submitting, visiting, rating build. Maybe I will skip to the next part. The best will test it in game when we'll be able to actually do it. Vendor history log, this is quite straightforward and it does not persist when you change the server, so it's important to check if you are interested who was buying what before you hop the server. A bump in the road arriving later this month, that's the Caravan. Is there a date? Probably not. Near the border of Skyline Valley, you will come across the ruins of an abandoned headquarters once owned by the Blue Ridge Caravan Company. They have had a challenging time operating within the presence of the storm, but luckily for them you arrive, a seasoned traveler of the region, well versed in all forms of combat and even a few forms of diplomacy. Although that will not work here. The company decides to give you franchising rights to start your own caravan branch under their flag. Once set up, you will escort caravans across the Shenandoah region and recruit a strong crew of varying professions. This crew will help you build up your own personal outpost where new rewards await you. While you are traveling across Skyline Valley, make sure you take a bit to help your fellow aspiring business dwellers with their own caravans. Events, public team bonuses apply to caravan events, and helping someone else will get you back to starting your own caravans that much quicker. And for the caravans, I do have a full guide on the channel as well, if you want to see how they will work. Combat rebalance. Milepost 0 continues to work. We started in Skyline Valley to update our combat systems. This patch, we are focusing on changes to fire and poison damage and how the damage over time effect works. There is also more rebalancing for creatures and many other changes. There is a lot to dig into, so grab a cup of coffee or tea and dig in. Player weapons, fire poison weapons and mods. Fire and poison damage will typically include a dot effect, with fire damage trading towards shorter durations and higher damage per second, with poison trending towards longer duration and higher overall damage. Which is very cool change, like there is difference now between fire and poison, they distinct. The following weapons, armor and mods have been updated to align with this fire and poison dot adjustment. Paired with the creature adjustments farther below, this generally represents an increase in damage dealt. And because unfortunately there is no values at all, just a list of affected weapons, I will not go through this list. It would be kind of pointless without the value to discuss it. In game, we'll see the values. Additional weapon and armor adjustments. Adjusted the damage dealt by the torn armor. Okay, no explanation. I don't like those overall, like, we did adjustments. Okay, can I know what? Increase the damage for the Gauss shotgun. Unfortunately, simultaneously, what doesn't say here, Gauss shotgun was severely nerfed with changes to how explosive effect works and how multi-projectile hit works. Generally, shotguns are not increased in anything. They decreased, they nerfed. Increase the damage of floater freezer grenades. Reduce the damage over time for the cremator's burn to account for it now scaling with weapon damage bonuses. And it was already before, basically they are trying to say we slightly nerfed a cremator's dot. Reduce the self-damage dealt to the player when firing the kabloom at close range. Reduce the recoil and base AP cost for the railway rifle. Reduce the fire rate and remove the AP cost reduction for the railway rifle automatic piston receiver. So overall nerf to railway, that I already discussed it in video in details. Headhunter said damage type has been changed to bleed. It actually was bleed, but when you upgraded it, it was changing to regular ballistic damage. I hope now after upgrade it remains bleed. Adjusted the damage dealt by electrified legendary armor. Electrified legendary. Why only energy damage? Okay, I need to check those. I missed that previously. I did not know this was adjusted too. Creature balance, and because there is no exact values, we'll just scroll through the list. We don't know exactly, so that's pointless to read those creatures. Now, creatures' weapons. Weapons used by the following creatures have also been updated, like the updates to fire and poison damage on player weapons. Creature weapons with fire damage will typically have a dot which has higher DPS, and weapon with poison damage will typically have a dot which deals more overall damage per hit, but longer duration. So a bunch of enemies receive the same updates as we do. Perk changes, and those are new perks for endurance category, new awesome perks. Again, stats not listed here, but I did testing, so on my channel as well, all those 4 new perks with different amount of endurance, how much they give, I have presented. So you can check the video for full changes into endurance perks. I don't like how they never list values for those new perks. And those are new. The names somehow and the pictures on the cards remain, but they do completely different thing than what they used to. Region bosses. The following creatures have had an adjustment to how incoming damage is reduced. This primarily affects cases where vast critical attacks and damage over time effects would bypass a portion of the intended damage reduction. Quick translation, because again there is no explanation. Those 3 bosses used to have damage reduction. That was completely taken away. They don't have special damage reduction anymore. Like Air had 80% damage reduction. There is 0 now. But they do have more health, more base health pool, and higher regular resistance. So no hidden damage reduction, replaced with more health and regular resistance. Therefore, there is nothing for vast criticals to bypass. Bug fixes and improvements. And there is a bunch. I will probably try to focus on the ones that are interesting for me. If you want to read them all, feel free to pause the video and check every single one. Combat are interesting one. Made an adjustment to damage modifiers for creature weak points. This will result in additional damage dealt to creatures when weapons with lower damage per hit are used. And of course when hitting a weak point, not overall. Damage over time effects now scale with bonuses to weapon damage. Address a series of inconsistencies with how certain damage effects, primary damage over time, were dealing incorrect damage types or were untyped damage without a corresponding resistance. So that was bleed. Did they completely remove bleed? Are they trying to say there is no more bleed damage? Bleed damage does not have corresponding resistance, at least never had, unless it was changed to regular damage, but then it would be pointless. Address an issue where damage over time effects dealt by players would not scale to match the creature's level, expeditions. So it is coming with this update, it seems like. Fix an issue where certain effects, such as damage over time and the Vampire Legendary mod, could stack when applied multiple times simultaneously on a single target. This commonly occurred with shotguns, but could also occur when using the 2-shot Legendary mod or the multi-shot Cremator mod in VATS. And no, 2-shot no. 2-shot is not possible with vampires, both prefix. But yeah, that's a nerf to shotguns. They can only trigger vampire once per shot regardless of number of projectiles. Address an issue where dot damage dealt by NPC could be lower than intended. Fix an issue that could prevent the poison aura on the Strangler hard power armor from affecting nearby enemies, which is very welcome, and it was slightly buffed too. Adjustment to how damage increases from perks are applied. This will generally result in an increase in damage dealt to targets with higher resistances, especially for dot effects. That's interesting, but still doesn't explain what changed. I would like to know, but seems like we'll not know. Melee weapon dot damage now scales with strength. Fix an issue with Grenadier perk that resulted in explosions scaling up to twice as large as intended. Explosions are much smaller. On public test server at least, only visuals were affected. Let's hope that's the case with live servers too. Fix an issue that could cause some explosions to be scaled smaller or larger than intended. Effects which increase explosion damage, demolition expert, etc. should now increase the damage dealt by dot effects from explosions. Oh, really? I did not know this. Okay, that's new for me. Need to see if demolition expert is increasing the dot on cremator then. Or it's something else, we'll see. Address an issue where the danger cloud mutation would deal more damage than intended. Address an issue where dot damage could persist on a player when entering down but not out state, resulting in the player dying immediately instead of being able to be revived. Oh, they... Okay, I'm curious if they actually fixed that. It's very common occurrence that you are instantly killed by enemies without ability to be revived. Is that actually fixed now? Okay, that's something I want to test. Address an issue where the bonus to dot damage from strength for melee weapons and perks could be higher than intended. First they said that they made it work, and now they address it to don't be too high. Alright. Address a display issue with the description text for the Strangler Hard Power Armor set bonus. Gameplay changes. Okay, even more changes. Change how explosive bullets mod, how it interacts with various weapons. So the explosive bullet are now specific to weapon. They have different visuals with different weapons. Fix an issue with the light 'em up plasma gatling flickering on the front neon tubes while in first person. Okay, those are like very, very minimalistic. I will only read the ones that are important. Oh, damage from fire and poison damage over time effects should now be properly reduced by fire and poison resistance. Okay, that's good for us. Improved chainsaw durability. Oh, that's a surprise. Durable chainsaws. Perk effects will now persist when player exits ward and returns. It's supposed to be like that, but it's good that it's fixed. Extended the no camp zone around midweek to prevent camps from impacting the event. That can be bad. That can be bad if you have camp in there. If you don't, then it's good. Fix an issue preventing duplicate plant drops from holiday gifts. Okay, that's a welcome fix. Fix an issue which prevented corpses from turning into goo piles after being hit by a plasma arrow critical shot. Okay, that's not a very important fix, but it's done. Fix a crash when fast traveling while camera is half underwater. Oh, that was causing a crash? Okay, that's something interesting. Fix an issue with the gain experience challenge, giving an incorrect amount of score. A few daily and weekly challenges will now be auto-tracked upon logging into a server. Don't know why that's needed, but okay, cool. The quest fixes. And I will only read if there is something interesting. Okay, they fix achievement for I Become Deaf challenge. That's good. Apart from that, some minor fixes. And some good quest fixes. That's always good. Oh, one interesting here, eviction notice. After our feedback from public test server, they decided not to go ahead with the nerf, so we still will get plenty of legendaries at eviction notice. Okay, that's awesome. First time something like that happened. Not being nerfed. Good news. And couple last notes. Some fixes to display issue in the Pip-Boy effects tab. Fix an issue where some icons were incorrect in the Pip-Boy. Items will indicate if they count as a costume when inspected, and weapons will indicate classification information when inspected. Okay, those are welcome changes. For the vendors, yeah, Giuseppe will now sell mystery bubblehead box for 20 stamps. 6 per day. Oh, there's daily limit? Why is there daily limit? Okay, I don't know why there is a daily limit. Known issues. The team is aware and are continuing to investigate reports of lag when using the Pip-Boy. We thank you for your patience. If you are experiencing this issue, please contact our customer support team so we can collect more information. So I heard a lot about this issue and it's looked like it's being investigated, which is good. And this is everything for the patch notes. We are waiting for the servers to go live, and then mass legendary scrapping, and then second live stream that I will be doing, reviewing a season pass. So stay tuned and see you there.